Jim Hawkins' moment of heroism in Treasure Island. This is one of our favorite excerpts from this great classic. I hope that you've had occasion to read this classic. Here is just a reminder of kind of what's going on. This is well into the book. It's getting towards the end. Jim Hawkins has just had his little escapade out in the coracle, going to sea and getting on board the big ship. Ends up having great fortune there, kind of recapturing the ship. But he had left without telling Captain Smollett and Squire Trelawney and Dr. Livesey. So now he's coming back to what they call the blockhouse, or the little fort on the island. And he comes back at night and he just jumps over and he goes in and he's so excited he's going to just be there when they wake up in the morning, surprise them. Well, it turns out he gets the surprise that it's Long John Silver and the pirates now occupy the fort, the blockhouse. And so now he's their prisoner. What's happening right now is in the chapter 30 called On Parole, Dr. Livesey, the good doctor, comes back and is willing to help out the pirates. So he's the ones that are injured. So he's helping, giving some medicine, checking on their wounds. And he, of course, sees that Jim Hawkins is here. He hasn't had any communication with them since Jim left unannounced. So he has no idea what's going on. Has Jim abandoned and gone to the pirates? Did they capture him somehow? He doesn't know. So we're going to jump in here. He's just treated the pirates, and he wants to kind of casually now turn to Long John Silver, of course, as the captain of the pirates, and say that he wants to talk to Jim, and you'll see what happens after that. Well, Dr. Livesey added, after he had dosed them round, and they had taken his prescriptions with really laughable humility, more like charity school children than blood-guilty mutineers and pirates. Well, that's done for today, and now I should wish to have a talk with that boy, please. And he nodded his head in my direction carelessly. George Mary was at the door, spitting and spluttering over some bad-tasted medicine, but at the first word of the doctor's proposal, he swung round with a deep flush and cried, "No!" and swore. Silver struck the barrel with his open hand. "Silence!" he roared, and looked about him positively like a lion. "Doctor," he went on, in his usual tones, "I was a-thinking of that, knowing as how you had a fancy for the boy. We're all humbly grateful for your kindness, and as you see, puts faith in you, and takes the drugs down like that much grog. And I take it I've found a way as'll suit all. Hawkins, will you give me your word of honor, as a young gentleman? For a young gentleman you are, although poor born. Your word of honor not to slip your cable." I readily gave the pledge required. "Then, doctor," said Silver, "you just step outside of the stockade, and once you're there, I'll bring the boy down on the inside, and I reckon you can yarn through the spars. Good day to you, sir, and all our duties to the squire and Captain Smollett." The explosion of disapproval, which nothing but Silver's black looks had restrained, broke out immediately the doctor had left the house. Silver was roundly accused of playing double, of trying to make a separate peace for himself, of sacrificing the interests of his accomplices and victims, and in one word, of the identical exact thing that he was doing. It seemed to me so obvious in this case that I could not imagine how he was to turn their anger. But he was twice the man the rest were, and his last night's victory had given him a huge preponderance on their minds. He called them all the fools and dolts you can imagine, said it was necessary I should talk to the doctor, fluttered the chart in their faces, asked them if they could afford to break the treaty the very day they were bound to treasure hunting. "No, by thunder," he cried, "it's us must break the treaty when the time comes. Until then, I gammon that doctor if I have to ile his boots with brandy." Then he bade them get the fire lit, and stalked out upon his crutch, with his hand on my shoulder, leaving them in disarray and silenced by his volubility rather than convinced. "Slow, lad, slow," he said. "They might round upon us in a twinkle of an eye, if we was seen to hurry." Very deliberately, then, did we advance across the sand to where the doctor awaited us on the other side of the stockade, and as soon as we were within easy speaking distance, Silver stopped. You'll make a note of this here also, doctor, says he, and the boy'll tell you how I saved his life. And we're deposed for it, too, and you may lay to that. Doctor, when a man's steering as near the wind as me, playing chuck farthing with the last breath in his body like, you wouldn't think it too much, mayhap, to give him one good word? You'll please bear in mind, it's not my life only now, it's that boy's into the bargain. And you'll speak me fair, doctor, and give me a bit of hope to go on for the sake of mercy. Silver was a changed man. Once he was out there and had his back to his friends and the blockhouse. His cheeks seemed to have fallen in, his voice trembled, never was a soul more dead in earnest. Why, John, you're not afraid? Asked Dr. Livesey. Doctor, I'm no coward, no, not I, not so much, and he snapped his fingers. If I was, I wouldn't say it. But I'll own up fairly, I've the shakes upon me for the gallows. You're a good man and true, I never seen a better man, and you'll not forget what I done good, not any more than you'll forget the bad, I know. And I step aside, see here, and leave you and Jim alone, and you'll put that down for me too, for it's a long stretch, is that. So saying, he stepped back a little way, till he was out of earshot, and there sat down upon a tree stump and began to whistle. Spinning round now and again upon his seat so as to command a sight, sometimes of me and the doctor, and sometimes of his unruly ruffians as they went to and fro in the sand, between the fire, which they were busy rekindling, and the house, from which they brought forth pork and bread to make the breakfast. So, Jim, said the doctor sadly, here you are. As you have brewed, so shall you drink, my boy. Heaven knows I cannot find it in my heart to blame you, but this much I will say, be it kind or unkind. When Captain Smollett was well, you dared not have gone off. And when he was ill and couldn't help it, by George, it was downright cowardly. I will own that I here began to weep. Doctor, I said, you might spare me. I have blamed myself enough. My life's forfeit anyway, and I should have been dead by now if Silver hadn't stood for me. And, doctor, believe this, I can die, and I dare say I deserve it. But what I fear is torture. If they come to torture me— Jim, the doctor interrupted, and his voice was quite changed. Jim, I can't have this. Whip over, and we'll run for it. Doctor, said I passed my word. I know, he cried. We can't help that. Jim, now, I'll take it on my shoulders. Holus bolus. Blame and shame, my boy. But stay here, I cannot let you. Jump. One jump and you're out, and we'll run for it like antelopes. No, I replied. You know right well you wouldn't do the thing yourself. Neither you, nor squire, nor captain. And no more will I. Silver trusted me. I passed my word, and back I go. But, doctor, you did not let me finish. If they come to torture me, I might let slip a word of where the ship is. For I got the ship, part by luck and part by risking, and she lies in North Inlet, on the southern beach, and just below high water. At half tide she must be high and dry. The ship! Exclaimed the doctor. Rapidly I described to him my adventures, and he heard me out in silence. There's a kind of fate in this, he observed when I had done. Every step it's you that saves our lives. And do you suppose by any chance that we are going to let you lose yours? That would be a poor return, my boy. You found out the plot. You found Ben Gunn, the best deed that you ever did or will do, though you live to 90. Oh, by Jupiter, and talking of Ben Gunn, why, this is the mischief in person. Silver, he cried, Silver! I'll give you a piece of advice, he continued as the cook drew near again. Don't you be in any great hurry about that treasure. Why, sir, I do my possible, which that ain't, said Silver. I can only, asking your pardon, save my life and the boys by seeking for that treasure. And you may lay to that. Well, Silver, replied the doctor, if that is so, I'll go one step further. Look out for squalls when you find it. Sir, said Silver, as between man and man, that's too much and too little. What you're after, why you left the blockhouse, why you have given me that there chart, I don't know, now do I? And yet I done your bidding with my eyes shut, never a word of hope. But no, this here's too much. If you won't tell me what you mean plain out, just say so, and I'll leave the helm." "No," said the doctor musingly, "I have no right to say more. It's not my secret, you see, Silver, or I give you my word I'd tell it to you. But I'll go as far with you as I dare go and a step beyond, for I'll have my wig sorted by the captain or I'm mistaken. And first, I'll give you a bit of hope. Silver, if we both get alive out of this wolf trap, I'll do my best to save you short of perjury." Silver's face was radiant. "You couldn't say more, I'm sure, sir, not if you was my mother," he cried. "Well, that's my first concession," added the doctor. "My second is a piece of advice. Keep the boy close beside you, and when you need help, halloo. I'm off to seek it for you, and that itself will show you if I speak at random. Goodbye, Jim." And Dr. Livesey shook hands with me through the stockade, nodded to Silver, and set off at a brisk pace into the wood. "Jim," said Silver when we were alone, "if I saved your life, you saved mine, and I'll not forget it. I seen the doctor waving you to run for it with the tail of my eye, I did, and I seen you say no as plain as hearing. Jim, that's one to you. This is the first glint of hope I had since the attack failed, and I owe it to you. And now, Jim, we're to go in for this here treasure hunting with sealed orders, too, and I don't like it. And you and me must stick close, back to back like, and we'll save our necks in spite of fate and fortune." So that was chapter 30 and a little of 31. Jim Hawkins' Moments of Heroism. Treasure Island.